guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I'm so happy you're here. I have my September roundup of eyeshadow palettes. I thought these would get out earlier, but I'm just really behind on everything. So I went through several palettes. I want to talk to you about them. I will put them in order of my least favorite to my most favorite. But first, let's go over what I used. I have the Aladdin MAC palette. I have two from Sigma. These are the minis of Enchanted and Rosa. Then I have the My Mini Dream palette from Natasha Denona. I have the Violet Voss Berry Burst palette. This Makiage. This is the Color Boss Master palette and Treat Yourself. I don't want to turn it too much or else it's going to blind you with the lights. I have a Formula Z Glamgasm palette. What a terrible name. And then a Block Party by Suva Beauty. There we go. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave me a comment down below. Are you familiar with any of these palettes? What are your experience with these palettes? Let me know. Let me know what you've been wearing, what you've been loving, or palettes to avoid. Let me know that as well. In last place, probably not a surprise, it's going to be the Suva Beauty Block Party. This is a cool palette. It just is not. It's not me. It's the colors for sure. It's loud. It has a lot going on for it. But I've also put shimmers can be very pretty, but the fallout is crazy. I had so much fallout. I had it everywhere, and I don't like that. And even when I was swatching it, I had fallout. These shimmers can be pretty, but they're very pigmented. Some of them, and then some of them not so much. So like the pink was not as pigmented as I was thinking it would be. It looked pretty kind of muted when I was wearing it on the eyes. So that was an issue. And the purples, the same way, they weren't as pigmented. I mean, look at this one. You think it's kind of a muted color, but it's more saturated. But the blues, oh my goodness, if you want blue, you're going to have blue everywhere. So that is why it's in last place. It's also going to be decluttered because this is not a me palette. So that one. In seventh place, because I had 8 palettes, is the Formula Z Glamgasm palette. I said overall it's a decent palette. Mattes are just mid. Not bad, not great. The shimmers are pretty good, but it doesn't swatch all that great. You can't even really see, like there's that first one, it's there. It just doesn't want to show up. So I wanted to swatch it again on camera so that you could see, like, yeah, there's a little bit there, but it's just not the best. There, come on, light. There you go. So it's pretty light. I'm going to keep it for now, but it might be one that gets decluttered in the future. I can't guarantee that I want to keep it. It's good if you want something for work, like definitely work appropriate colors, not going to be overly saturated, just a quick run of color. That's fine for this, but not an outstanding palette by any means. Not one to make me want to purchase anything else from this brand. This next one might be a bit surprising if you know my love of this brand, but it's Natasha Denona. This is the My Mini Dream palette, and what I said, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, I said it actually had creasing. I wore it to FanX, if you saw my pictures on Instagram. So it was a long day, but it wasn't any longer than like a normal day. But I had creasing. It didn't wear great. It looked really pretty at first, but just not the same quality as some of the other ones. The colors are actually kind of nice because they're very, very neutral. So if you want something super, super neutral, that it's there. I did double swatch all of the mattes though, because the swatches were like half the length they are. They just ran out of juice, which is very odd. So I don't think this is as good as some of the other ones, which makes me wonder if did I get the Dream palette? I don't even remember what palettes I have now. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. But if you're looking at minis, this is not one that I would recommend. It didn't have the staying power. It it didn't perform as well as a lot of the other ones, although those shimmers are so pretty, like kind of a little mesmerizing seeing them in the shadow. This is 5th place, so right in the middle is my Violet Voss Berry Burst palette. I said not quite as good as the big palettes in terms of the mattes. The shimmers are really good. Could use another shimmer though, is what I thought. So this is what it looks like. Oh, I should show you the palette as well. So this is what we're looking at. Oh, this shimmer right here, so pretty. I do like the shimmer next to it too, but I do wish it had one more shimmer because I'm a shimmer girl. And there's some nice shades in here. I feel like these two are just so similar, those two mattes. You can kind of see, you know, they're pretty similar, which I think is part of the reason why I also would like another shimmer in there. But it's nice. I will definitely be keeping this one and continue wearing it and playing with it. But that's where we are with this one. So next up, we have my MAC Aladdin palette. I think this is my favorite MAC palette of all time. I really love the mix in here. You know, it's not a super exciting palette, but I think it's just really pretty. They did such a nice job with the color story, with the actual shades in here. So I said my favorite MAC palette, good color story, shimmers are a little uneven, the mattes are very nice, and the looks were all very pretty. I did add a little extra to the pink because it is so light you can't see it. So that's this little pink right down there. But that was the biggest problem. I think the mattes were really nice. They're soft and blendable, which is nice. And I really enjoyed this palette, and it's definitely one. I know they re-released some of the Disney collections this summer. I didn't have a chance to buy anything. I wanted to get a backup of Princess Incognito, the lipstick, and maybe something from Cinderella, but I never did. I should probably go see if they still have those up. But this one, if they still have it, this is one that I think would be like a nice addition to a collection. We're getting to the end. In 3rd place, we have the Makiage palette. This is so shiny. This is the Treat Yourself palette, and you have 8 colors in there. This is what they look like. This palette is so intense. Oh my goodness. So what did I say? I said very saturated shades all around. They are all semi-creamy and go on a little thick, especially the shimmers. So was a little hard to work with them because they are so pigmented. They're so creamy. Like trying to blend them, like a little goes a long way, and it's really hard to get just a little with them. They're just a lot. You can tell, like, look at how much more saturated than everything else they are. They're beautiful. They are very, very pretty. I do enjoy the, come on, don't change colors. I do enjoy the palette, but it is not an easy palette to work with by any means. So that is a warning on that one. I think it's nice. I would like to try something else from Makiage in terms of like eyeshadows, but they're intense. It's an experience. In 2nd place, I have the mini Rosa palette from Sigma Beauty. This is what the shadows look like. There are some pretty shades in here. I really like those first 3. These first 3 right here. Those are my favorite. I like the shimmers. I like that matte. This is like a crease shade for me. It is not a brow bone shade by any means. It's quite pigmented. Then we get down to this end, and they're very pigmented, as you can see right there. So a little more pigmented than I was used to. What did I write? I wrote very pigmented. The shimmers can be gorgeous, but they do fade. It's very pretty, and I liked the mattes a little bit more than the shimmers. Now, why is this one the 2nd place if I felt that way? I don't feel like any of these palettes are absolute loves for me. I like the MAC quite a bit. I feel like it's one of my palettes that I feel an affinity towards, like feel a pull towards. But most of these, even though I like them, I don't think that they're outstanding. They're not ones that I'm like, oh, this is so fantastic. So it was actually kind of hard to rank them this month because I was like, there's problems with all of them. None of them really stood out for the most part as something I was really excited about or really absolutely loved. I think that the one that's going to be in first place is the closest to a love, but I still feel like if I hadn't gotten it, I would not be overly sad, which sounds weird, but that's where we are. We have come to number 1. It is the Enchanted palette from Sigma. I think this is the closest to a love. There's still things that like I'm like meh about, but of all of them, this is my favorite color story, my favorite formula, so overall just my favorite. This was the easiest one. I knew this was going to be number 1, but then I was like, where do I put everything else that just wasn't as exciting to me? So I said pretty colors, good color story, could use a medium tone matte. That's my one criticism, because we have some really pretty shimmers. We have 4 shimmers, and then we have those 3 mattes. I don't know that I needed both of these mattes. It just is, it's a little different. But here we go. The shimmers are very, very light. They don't show up. They show up nicely on the eyes, but just in swatching, they didn't swatch as good as I was hoping. So let's try to double swatch like that first and middle one. So add a little bit more. The middle one is kind of my favorite. There you go. You can see it a little bit more now. I'm trying to keep my face in there so that the colors doesn't change. But yeah, so that is my favorite palette from the past month. Let me know if you've tried any of these. Let me know if you get what I'm saying about the palettes. If you think I should declutter any of them other than the first one, which I am already decluttering, let me know down below. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.